Welcome. You are listening to Our Mindful Nature, formerly titled The Mindful Minute. I'm your host, Meryl Arnett. This podcast explores the deep connection between land and self through nature-based meditations and meditative experiences that invite us back into belonging to each other, to our ancestors, to the earth, and to all beings that make up this universe. If you would like to access these meditation practices as standalone audio files, please subscribe to my newsletter at merylarnett.com. It's free, and you'll receive a new mini meditation each week, along with behind-the-scenes content and bonus material for each podcast episode. All right, grab a cup of tea, pop in your headphones, and find a comfy seat. Let's settle in for today's episode.
Slim, tropical waves crash against the shoreline, transparent and green, evenly spaced. The mother next to me urges me closer to the water. She can sense my hesitation. From the shore, they appear too tall enough to swallow me whole. But I dive under and through, resurfacing with the rhythmic swell. Surface, breathe, dive. The green wave is the horizon, moving closer by the second. The water is deep, and I can barely see the shoreline. But the cresting wave on the horizon is larger than ever, towering, filling my field of view. I maintain a steady pace and dive under, easily emerging to find nothing. No wave in the distance. Kicking downward, my foot digs into deep sand. My hand pushes off the bank, and suddenly I'm in shallow water. Rivulets and pools, mixed with firm white sand, stretch out before me. Upright, I walk onto the braided terrain, perplexed by the change. Looking back, I see the water's edge, and behind that, a distant horizon of waves, moving away from me toward the far shore. Something tells me that will not be the way I return. Rolling over, I don't know where I am. Tightly bound and warm. Silence. No waves. No light. That's right. I'm in my sleeping bag, inside a small 2-person tent in Glacier National Park, the northeast corner. The night air is cold against my face in early fall. Walking across the sand, distant ocean waves blending into white noise, I notice an old Victorian house, quaint in the countryside, green hills stretching beyond, peaceful, calm. Eyes open again, as if called back to the world, to consciousness. Something has caught my attention. The slightest form of the world is revealed by dim, nearly imperceptible light. With no rain in the forecast, I left my rain fly off, preferring the airflow and the view of the sky through the fine mesh of the tent. Laying motionless, I try to make out what I can see. Yes, there are definitely stars out there, visible through the tent and the sparse tree cover overhead. Maybe there's a crescent moon just setting, giving off a dim aura, but that doesn't feel right. It's late, maybe 2 a.m. Curiosity trickles in, and I grab my warm jacket to have a look. There's a wide clearing not far from my camping spot. The night air is unexpectedly mild, and I feel more awake. My eyes have adjusted, so I don't need my headlamp, although I wear it loosely around my neck. I look up and see the source of the light. It's starlight. A thick, brilliant band stretches across the sky, almost like a cloud, our Milky Way. So many stars combine their glow to bathe the landscape in a soft radiance, illuminating the nearby trees and tracing the distant ridgeline of the Belly River Valley. I've walked all day through grizzly country in the northeast corner of Glacier National Park. The Belly River Trail is beautiful in the fall, with warm yellow light filtering through aspens and maples, widening its way up the broad valley while the Rockies rise steeply to the west. The peaks above, dusted with snow, stand in stark contrast to the rocky slopes and the dense evergreen forest. Warm days and cool nights mark the off-season, leaving the campgrounds nearly empty. Rounding another bend, I'm stunned by the view of the winding river. Bathed in soft sunlight as large clouds drift across the sky. Occasional gusts play across the millions of leaves, sending some gently drifting to the ground, while others lift high into the air. It feels like a dance of the trees, their arms full of shimmering golden foliage, calling in the changing season. Soon this landscape will be still, frozen in white, covered in snow. Silent, I watch the dense night sky as a calm breeze washes over me, cresting like a wave through the nearby aspens. On a clear night in a remote corner of the Rockies, deep in grizzly country, I see a countless sea of stars, shimmering as bright as I have ever seen. Reaching into my pocket, I grab my small pair of backpacking binoculars for a closer look. The brightest light on this moonless night is Jupiter, high in the western sky. I've long felt a sense of gratitude and safety for the giant gas planet. We possibly owe our existence to its location. With its large gravitational influence on the local asteroid belt, keeping things in place and giving our small planet time to evolve. Thank you, Jupiter. Gazing across unknown space, I notice that some areas appear thick and cloud-like, dots within dots, specks of light. It reminds me of phosphorescence, glowing and nearly imperceptible until you look closer and realize this body of light is made up of millions of individual specks. As if that isn't enough, I pause on an oval blur. Familiar with this spot, I lower my binoculars to give my eyes a rest and take it all in. All the stars I see are relatively local, sitting within the arms of our Milky Way galaxy. In various sizes, they are not unlike our sun. But this small smudge I return to for a closer look is the Andromeda Galaxy. Wider than the scattered starlight, it spreads into an oval shape, another galaxy unto itself. The stars that form it, like our own, are bound in a vast gravitational relationship. We are not floating alone in space, but held together on the move. Then there's Andromeda, also held together on the move, and entirely separate. Hello, galaxy. Looking at it feels like looking at another self, maybe for the first time.
Thanks for listening to Our Mindful Nature. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider sharing it with a friend or leaving me a review wherever you get your podcasts. It helps others to find the show, and let's face it, we could all use a few more meditators in our lives. Our Mindful Nature is recorded on Muskogee land and produced with the support of Brianna Nielsen. Deep gratitude is offered to acoustic ecologists Gordon Hempton and Nick McMahan for the use of their nature field recordings in many of these episodes. To join my live classes, ask questions, or learn about my teacher trainings, please visit merylarnett.com. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next week.